The first product we made at Open was the O1.0 hardtail. And not just any hardtail, it was the lightest hardtail in the world, perfect for cross-country races and just hard riding. And that meant that for our second hardtail, we needed to do something really special. We worked about 18 months designing a completely new frame, working with a new manufacturer, and then at the end of the 18 months, we had to conclude that the manufacturer just couldn't make what we wanted. They would show that a frame passed in the testing, but then when we got it, it would fail in a very short period of time, let's say. So we started from scratch, needed a new manufacturer, and just about that same time, Boost was introduced as a new technology. What's Boost? Well, it's a wider spacing in the rear. So normally it's 142, and Boost goes to 148 millimeters width here, which means that you can move the flanges out from your rear wheel, and so the spoke angle becomes better for your rear wheel, and you get a stiffer wheel and a stiffer drivetrain. But it also does something else. When you move this cassette out by 3 millimeters, of course you also need to move the chain rings out. The nice thing about Boost is that you can move the chain rings without changing the shape of the crank, so your Q factor doesn't change. And that's because there's quite a bit of space between the rings and the crank, because that space was there from the old days when there were triple cranks. And so now basically you're using that third position on the triple chain ring to move all your rings there, whether it's a single or a double crank. So, and as Andy and I were discussing whether or not we should use Boost or not, because on cross country at that point it wasn't really that popular. It was more for, you know, all mountain kind of riding. But the thing we liked about Boost was not so much the extra spacing in the rear, but the moving of the chain rings at the crank, because that meant we could also move out our chainstay, and with that we could create more tire clearance. So what we did was design the frame again as a full-on, no compromise cross-country frame. So it's super light, again well under 900 grams, with a through axle this time, set up for, in the medium and large sizes, 29er wheels, up to 2.4 inches of tire size. So really all you could wish for in a cross-country machine. But then what we did is we also created enough space for 650B or 27.5, that's the same standard, plus size tires. So you have a slightly smaller rim, but a bigger tire, and the overall diameter stays the same. So the geometry and everything, the handling stays the same, but now all of a sudden you have 3-inch tires in here, so really you can attack any kind of terrain. Now there are other bikes, of course, that use this standard and have these bigger tires, but they're usually built around a much heavier platform. So it's a heavy frame, often aluminum, but even the carbon ones are quite heavy components, and then you end up with a complete bike that's maybe 22 to 25 pounds. So what you have here is you built your whole machine from the frame and all the other parts as a really super light cross-country machine, and then all you change is the wheels and the tires. You still have an extremely light machine, but now it can go anywhere. So it's a much more fun way of riding. You're not logging along this really cumbersome heavy machine. No, now you have a bike that's, you know, 8 kilos or 18 pounds, and or if you have even pretty standard components, be 9 kilos or roughly 20 pounds. And so you have that agility that comes with that low weight, and the massive tires that give you grip everywhere. It's really a super fun way to ride. Even on more technical cross-country races, that could be a good setup. But definitely when you just go out and have fun, it's an amazing bike. It's a blast to ride. So that's the new One Plus, super light cross-country machine without any compromise. And then additionally, you have that ability to put the Plus tires in.